Hi everyone, it's me, Ayesha. Just want to talk about the reset. Okay, what's been going through my mind? It's always good to talk, isn't it? Okay. So, I've had lots of dreams and things from the Lord about the reset and the time changes and everything else. And basically, in the dreams that I had before all of the gang stalking started, I kept a note of them, and it's all about the Commonwealth and the date the Commonwealth was set up. And then we've also got all of these world organizations, the World Health Organization, and all of those. Those are like the beast system. The Lord basically showed me that everything had been changed. The place that is God's place is Africa, and his language is in Hebrew. I mean, it's really hard to talk about it because people don't believe me, but I'm talking about it anyway. So, I've got a cat who wants a cuddle now, don't you? You want a cuddle? Poor little thing. You know, when they radiate me, they radiate the cat as well, and he doesn't understand what's going on, the poor little thing. You know, they really are trying to kill everyone, and the trees, and our little pets too, Alright, so the language I understand that is of the Lord is Afrikaans. But also God gave me one day the dictionary, the whole alphabet, and what the words meant and the letters and things. And the only one I remember now is soil, which is soil. But in between that, he gave me lots of other words, so I've got some of those. But I forgot them all. They happened all in about 10 minutes, all very quickly. And suddenly I knew everything. And then it all went again. It's like they've done something to our minds, so we can't remember, I think. So anyway, I've also had various things that God showed me that the beginning of the year is Capricorn. And that means that that's the age that we're in. And then when I was studying the maps also, God made me study the maps when I was studying the Bible. He showed me lots of different things about Africa, and that was the place. And basically, everything's been a lie. And then we had the World Fairs and the World Incubator Fairs and the orphan trains. And then we had World War I and World War II. And the big fires and the mud flood. And between all of that, they've managed to reset everything. The Statue of Liberty is Napoleon and Apollyon. This God showed me through saying, he told me to write it down. So I wrote it down. He said, Apollyon is the same as Napoleon. You'll write it down. So I did. And he was right. I was like, okay. Then he was like, well, this is Satan unchained, because he's unchained. And he's got a crown on his head, you see. And it's the Statue of Liberty of New York, like an egg. And it's all to do with Easter. It is. And Christmas. These pagan festivals. This he showed me as well. And I was like, wow, everything's wrong, isn't it? Anyway, I had all these dreams and visions and everything, and now I started seeing videos of people who have shown the Geneva Bible and that Jesus already been here for 1,000 years. And we're in the little season afterwards, which makes sense to me. And so I'm going to title this Satan's Little Season, because I think we're in Satan's little season. And I was just saying to God, if we are in Satan's little season, which I think, there's not much written about it for us to know what to expect, So all of the events that are happening could well be manifested by the little season deceivers, right? Okay. But I'm quite sure that they will be using the same tactics as they used for the final days. And that will work in favor of the Lord, because it's a way to refine us as well. But as a child, I saw a vision of the end of the world, and it was all catching fire. But it was also lots of floods. And I was in space, and I could see the earth, and all of the earth was on fire or underwater. I was not very old. I don't know how old I was, 8, 9, 10. And I said to my brother, I've come to save the people. And it's a memory of mine, and I don't know why I said it, but it's a memory of mine. Anyway, would you like to say hello to Gary? Say hello. Hi. Aren't you so pretty, my beautiful Gary? So, they've done this research, and they've tried to sort of write off all the history. So if Jesus was here for 1,000 years, that would explain all of the very big, amazing buildings. And the saints would have taken over even the pagan buildings and turned them into something. And this is quite common in the Bible, that we wouldn't have to build anything. We'd be taking what was our enemies and would repurpose it. Yeah. When we conquered these evil entities and reigned with Christ. So I believe that's happened. And now I'm not quite sure what this little season's about. But it does explain a lot to me, because the revelation is not unfolding how I thought it would. Okay. And why is that? Well, I think that that's because God's hand for the revelation has already played out his hand. And so that's happened. The devil can only do a version of it, and it won't be a true version. And let's be honest, he can't do what's amazing like God. So I was saying to God, if we are in this little season, then I don't really know what to expect. And he said, and I don't know how to please you, And he said, oh no, you do. You've got my Bible. So if you follow the Bible from before and do everything I've said, then you'll be okay. So basically, the whole thing does tell you that we're in the little season. The mortgage deed is a mortuary deed. The other thing that God told me was, when you buy a house, the land registry is to register the land. Because before that, it wasn't registered. Yeah. So the land registry was created to register those land pieces as people purchased them from this little season, where they didn't really conquer anything. And that would also explain all of the empty towns, the total abandonment of everybody. There was nobody here. Okay. It wasn't. In all these old videos and photos. And then you see a whole new population of people. And I don't really understand exactly what would have happened after Christ left. But I would imagine there'd be some of us left here, or put here. And then maybe the children. I don't know. And then the devil to deceive everybody. And if you think about it, that's exactly what he did. He made out that everything was great for all of the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Up until the 70s, I believe he was still resetting everything. If you look at the Scramble for Africa maps, Africa was sold by lot. And so I've just wonder which maps I'm looking at. Is it before the reset? Is it before Jesus reigned? I don't know. But it's very interesting because I want to talk about it, right? So when I look at maps now, I'm like, is this from when Jesus was here, or is this before Jesus was here? Is this since Jesus has reigned? And is this them then selling it all off and taking it over? I don't know. But if you think about it, everything they've told us is a lie. They've told us that there was African slaves and they were taken from Africa on the boats. It wasn't just that. And it was the whites also. And they were taken, the white ones were taken to a place called Caucasia. And I've actually found a map yesterday because I like looking at maps. And it was of Poland. And there's a place called Bohemia Grove. And I thought, wow, that's so interesting. That Bohemia is where all the Satanists worship. Anyway, I go through old maps and I'm always pulling up maps. Before all this started, I was able to access some amazing maps. Wow, very amazing. And I actually would screenshot them on my phone, sometimes 100 screenshots or more of a map. And then I would print each screenshot and then sticky tape it together on the floor in my lounge, which was a big lounge, and I could do that. And I did that with the map of Africa, with one of the maps I found. And I found a place called Job on the right-hand side of Africa. Anyway, basically God told me that this place called Jerusalem is not real. That was only created in 1945. And all the maps that have got Jerusalem on are fake maps. In that way, that was how I was able to ascertain if the maps were real or wrong. Yeah. So I would be searching everywhere for maps, and anything that said Jerusalem up there, I crossed it off and didn't use those maps. And I found Agog and AI in the maps of Africa, some of the older maps. And they kind of look a bit like Mexican-y type, like written and colored in type graphics and stuff. Anyway, very interesting. And so I think when I started to talk about all of this, I realized that these people that claim to be God's children are not. And so I talked about it. But, I just wanted to share what I'd learned in my dreams. And as a consequence of it, I believe they came after me. But I also have come to know that every part of my life I have been studied and watched. And I also believe the research that has happened is so very recent that it includes our own parents. If you're in your 50s, like me, then every part of your life would have been controlled. You would have been taken from your real parents, put with fake parents. They're able to clone and copy people, all sorts of very interesting things. And they've just basically really rushed to rewrite history. So I've noticed. I mean, I've found books that say 1939, but they're not 1939. They're I-939, and they look a lot older than 1939. So this is another thing that kept happening, and I'd find books and things, and I'd talk to God about it. And then he explained that the I is obviously not a 1. And so basically Christ reigned for his 1,000 years. And if you think about it, it would have been I for Jesus when he reigned. Probably for his 1,000 years up to I 999, which would have been the beginning of the new millennia. And then they would have reset everything in the middle 1900s. And then that's why they tell you that all of the buildings were built in 1850, because it's before the reset, Oh, that was built in 1850, 1860, 1821, 1830 something. So-and-so built it, but we got no architectural drawings or anything else. And we don't know the history. We don't know who built the pyramids, and we don't have any history. I mean, as a child, I can tell you that I just looked at all of that, and I just didn't believe anything I was being told at school. And I think that's why I was a rebel at school. I was naughty. I didn't want to be in school. I thought it was like prison. I hated school. I really did. I couldn't wait to get away from school, and I hated my family too. Well, I loved them, but they couldn't work out why they didn't love me. And I didn't fit in. And they bullied me and picked on me and things. I thought, this is strange. Strange love, this. But anyway, I believe everything makes sense if you realize that the reset that took place was after the reign of Christ. All the little children of God were swapped around, put with all sorts of weird families. There was the scramble for Africa, which I believe actually took place very early into the 1900s. The World War I and the World War II was, I don't know if it was real either. Okay. I believe that they would have had little airplanes and all this. And I think that's probably why they have museums. The steam trains also were created to use charcoal and put us to mining. That was after Jesus left, I believe, because we had free technology. And they used the train tracks that were there already and just repurposed it because we had transportation that used train tracks using electrical type currents to propel amazing flying objects into the sky and also propel you from one place to another in seconds in little black balls. You could fit about 10 or 12 people in. And those are things I was shown through photographs and things. And they were a type of flying objects. There's also charcoal, I believe, is actually people, by the way. Yeah, I believe it's dead bodies that have decomposed, burnt. And that's why it's black charcoal. I don't know if you've ever smelt a dead body. I haven't. But I can tell you that I recognize the smell. And petrol, I believe, is also dead bodies. And so is diesel. Why do I think that? Well, because God showed me. And it doesn't matter how crazy it is. If God shows me this, then I believe it. Also, all of people that die, they're not put in graveyards. They're not grinding up people and cremating people. They're putting them back in the food chain. They're grinding up the bones and using the bones as fertilizer. We can't be in a time other than the little season, I think. That's what I'm starting to think. A part of me doesn't want me to be in that season. Maybe that's because I want to see Christ reign for his 1,000 years. But, we need to know the truth, because the truth will set us free. And I want to talk about electricity and how we had electricity before and how they converted it into something dangerous that we now use. They also took over your chakra, your biometrics, and they also took hostage the ether. And the ether is ether, but it's also Esther. And Esther is a tester to find out if the Syrian king is serious. Sirius. Tester. Ezra is Esther. And Ezra was given 75 books. Ezra was a woman, not a man. So they've done something in the books to remove women and their endorsement and capacity in the ministering of God's word. Why? Well, because I believe that the matrix is the matrix womb, which is the womb man. But I can only go from what I'm learning. It's very hard to find the truth. I get things pop in my head and I go, well, that's amazing. God shows me all sorts of things. The word together is together. Ether is ether. Satan is ruler of the air. AI. God is I am. So it's all in the letters and the words. If you're a targeted individual, then you're under so much attack, you're not getting a chance to get your downloads from God. And basically, it's really hard to work things out when you're under full-time attack, harassment, torture. So many people are under this attack. It's astronomical, actually, how many people are being targeted, hacked, stalked, home invasions, being gassed, poisoned, having their whole life totally destroyed. And it's happening to more and more people. Goodness knows what they're doing. But they have told you that they're going to wipe your mind and they're going to take your mind, and soon you'll have the brain capacity of a feline, a dog or a cat, and you'll have to purchase your intelligence from the government. So this is all about taking hostage your body. Now, your body is flesh, and this is part of the material world. But your body also connects with your soul and your spirit. And I believe this is what they are trying to do. By removing your consciousness, your soul will depart also. The soul is actually connected with your blood. And your blood contains memory of all of life that ever existed. In each drop of blood is 70 terabytes of memory. And it contains all your history. And that's about awakening your DNA. As I've already said, they have removed the Z chromosome, which is activated through sound, which they had with the bells. And it's all to do with the ether. And the symbol for the ether is the Egyptian symbol. Well, it's not Egyptian. The Israel, the fake children of God, with a pyramid on top of a pyramid, the six-pointed star. And that's their God that they pray to. Okay. So also the cross folds up to a box. And Jerusalem in the Bible, when it flies down, is apparently a square. A big square box. Yeah. And then you've got the Muslims with their square box. Yeah, it's interesting, it is. I haven't got all the answers, but I want to talk about it and raise the questions with you and see what you think. Yeah. So, I believe that they've removed the Z chromosome. And the Z chromosome, as I say, is all about the ether, which is ether. And it's your chakras. And it's your biometrics. And they've had control and they've taken hostage of it. What I've found as a targeted individual, they do everything through the electricity to disrupt your body so that it's not in harmony with the earth and that you feel all the vibrations. I'd like to tell you how they do that, so you know. The electrics that are going into your electric box, if you get a tester, you'll see that one of the power, red or black power, coming in is over exerting electricity. Then, if you look, you'll notice that you've got 2 earth wires coming into your building. 2 earth wires. And those earth wires, one of them will be live, and that will be feeding directly into the building without going through the electric box. And it's that one that they take over. And I believe what they do is, you can make electricity from that, is they don't put it with the positive and negative. They over-earth you so that you feel all the vibrations and you're not grounded. So like if you go and stand in the sea, you're grounded. If you stand on the grass, you're grounding yourself. It's all about air, actually, as well. Because before the flood, we had different oxygen. Big trees. That's why we lived 1,000 years. That's why they're cutting down all the trees. Because now we've got smaller trees and we only live 100 years. But now they're trying to reduce it down. And they're also spraying the skies with nano and weird stuff and feeding us humans, basically. And weird vegetables. And our bodies are not going anywhere into the ground. And I can't think of a better way to reset everything and not have a history. Because if they do a reset now, which they say they're going to do, they're going to wipe the population from 8 billion to 500 million. And when the new population starts out again, they won't know any of the history because they'll be educated again the same, like we were. And there won't be any bodies. And the graveyards will be the same as what we have now. So, again, I just don't know how recently Jesus was reigning. And I don't know how many resets they've replayed the same set of events either. You know, with World War I and World War II. And the fires. But I think one of the ways you can tell with the books, which are the original, is the eye. And I don't know anything about the year system apart from I know that Jesus was here in the year 1753 or I-753. How do I know that? Because God told me to look at the calendars and the Gregorian calendar and our current and the Roman calendar from before. And between they explained that the 0 BC was created from the old calendar to the new calendar. And the 0 BC was 753. So this means that they've got a reset date. It also means that all the people that they say have been here and done whatever, like Isaac Newton, is a lie. Abraham Lincoln is a lie. All those faces that are on the mountains in America, oh, goodness knows who put those there, but we didn't do it. These amazing buildings, we didn't build them because we had horse and cart. We couldn't have built them. Remember that the Romans are Masons. So are we under the rule of Masons right now? These are the questions I ask. What exactly do you think has happened? Why was there such a big search for Nimrod's bits and pieces by Hillary Clinton? Why did they try and fire a rocket through the sky? We're in a dome. Why did they tell us that we're on a round ball? We have Black Rock, which is in the North Pole. And that's in the center of the earth with 4 rivers. What is that place? And these are the questions I ask. The television and acting and Hollywood was all created to rewrite history, to give you a different version of history with cowboys and Indians and all of this. And they follow a script, and they do everything on a stage, and then they film it and call it a video or a film. And a film, if we take those letters apart, is an F is an S. S, I, God, M. So this is all about M, but it's all about England as well. It's all about Anglophone, which is the English language. It's also got something to do with the transatlantic telephone cable, which went from England to America in about 1868. I don't know why they did that. They say they did that, but did they do it? Or did they take something over? With the exchange, I think about that too, for the telephones, and now we are on the microwave technology. I think about the post offices and all the little red post boxes and how heavy metal that is, and all of these iron grates that are on the drains on the roads. I wonder who built those iron grates. A lot of them are dated very far back. A small select group of families. If you look at old books, there was limited companies. But there was also not limited companies. And a lot of these books were undated as well. So why would they have books undated? These are things we ask questions about. Anyway, I do. Because God's all about dates. He does record everything. So if anybody's done something to not record dates, then that's to deceive. When I was a child, and they'd say, well, no one knows who built the pyramids, and basically we'd always learn about World War I and World War II. I wanted to know what happened before that. No one knew. And I thought, well, this is lies. Even as a child. And as a child, that's what I thought. And as an adult, I thought the same. And I've always asked questions, and I didn't like school. I didn't like the teachers, and I didn't like the people. I didn't like my family really much, to be honest. They weren't very nice to me. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand why I wasn't liked at school. I didn't understand why I wasn't liked by my family. I don't understand why. I know I'm not a horrible person. I do know that. So then the next question is, what's gone on? Somebody has done this, has purposely made it so that you haven't got friends at school and your family don't like you. That means that we must have been swapped at birth. And that every part of your life, every facet of your existence is a stage. And they've put everyone there. Maybe it's a type of matrix. I don't know. But I've come to realize that nothing really matters to me now, apart from God. I don't really get hurt by people anymore, because I don't really feel that people are real. I haven't got feelings. So, with the harassment and the stalking, I've realised that everyone's child eaters and blood drinkers. That's what I've realised. And they're all inbred. And they're possessed by demonic entities. And they're hunting and trying to torture me, and hack me and stalk me and do home invasions. And then no one will admit to it happening. No one will help you. And then when you realise that every husband and every boyfriend and every relationship you've had has also been intercepted, and they were only put there to destroy you, to have children with you, to leave you so that you'd be on your own. I've come to realise the only people who are allowed to be happy are devil worshippers and Satanists. I also realised that I wasn't a very nice person at some points of my life. I learned how to get through life by becoming tough. I didn't take any crap, and I gave as good as I got, and I spent my time learning. Didn't finish my schooling, but I learned anyway. I worked for solicitors, and I learned. And God helped me. But I just don't know what the point is of it all. Unless, of course, we're in that little season where they have done all of that, like I was saying. And that's what makes sense to me. And it also means that anybody that comes into your life will be a pawn. You'll never be allowed to be happy. You'll never be allowed to marry and have a happy family, because there's devil worshippers and Satanists who control every element of your life, and they pretty much own you. The only way out of it is through Christ, but it also means that nothing really matters. And you realize that freedom is very important to you. Solitude is important. Peace. So I've come to realize. When you read the books of Solomon, you realize that he wasn't very happy here. Once he woke up to everything, he thought it was quite pointless. I'm of the same opinion. Very horrible. You're born here, working all your life, not to own anything, and to give it to someone else and die. The point of existence is to build your soul. And this must be an experience that is all about building the soul. Having your heart broken a million times, and that kind of thing. That's what I think it's all about. The happily ever after movies and all that. It's not for us, unfortunately. The stories of God promises to Abraham, that will happen maybe for us if we pass our test and get to the other side. But this is a journey where everything around you is manipulated. So I've come to realize. Very disappointing. It means you're not free at all. And that every element of your life is controlled by devil worshippers who eat people and drink children's blood. I've also come to know that all aborted fetuses are taken out alive, and then they torture them and sacrifice them to the devil. And all I can say is this place is evil. And like I say, I wish I was never born. I really do, every day. But there's many of us, like me, around the world. And we're going to try and find each other. It's a damn scary world. It's horrible, it is. I think. It's a whole new reality when you've got your neighbours torturing you. I mean, for me, it was like, okay, your family don't like you, that's fine. Your husband doesn't like you either. Alright then. Now he's turned the daughter against you. Alright then, fabulous. You run a business and all your staff try and steal a business and destroy you. Alright then. You know that you've got enemies writing fake reviews about you because you do everything right. And you work so hard. You brought up the kids by yourself. No one's ever been there, not even your family. What's the point? There's a real hatred of women in this world. A hatred of children. A hatred of the vulnerable. And everything's a lie. It's the bottom feeders and it's the top feeders. All the movie stars are inverted. Male or female and female or male. All this kind of thing. Same with the singers, the same with the world leaders. All the neighbours torture the children of God. Hack, stalk, terrorise, do witchcraft. Pray to their devil. Go and round up more little fetuses that are living from the local abortion clinic. Sacrifice them to the devil to give them more power. These are our neighbours, the neighbourhood watch killers, witches and warlocks living all around us. You know, and like I say, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it was like, okay, family, right, you don't like me, school, same, work, fine, same problems, couldn't keep jobs, never liked me, even though I was a good worker, everything was difficult. Husband, total psychopath. Every boyfriend, the same. About how to make you feel worthless as a woman. Wasn't anything romantic, and there would never have been a happy ever after. It was all about destroying you, breaking your soul, hurting you and destroying you. And the little children are the suffering ones. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. The thing is, little children grow up and they become broken people. And there's a lot of broken people. Like I say, I just kind of went, okay, that's fine. I'll just be by myself then. I don't need friends. I don't need family. You don't like me? That's all right then. I like myself. And I like God. And I'll read about God. I don't need anyone. I'm happy by myself. I wanted a big family. But that's not why I'm here. I wasn't put here to have a happily ever after, happy family. I was put here to be tortured and tormented, hacked and stalked and terrorized, to be watched like an animal, to have every part of my life interfered with. That's what I've come to realize. And it's me against the world with the Lord, because I know the Lord's with me. But the promises of Abraham are what keep me going. That one day I'll be allowed to have my own freedom and my own land and my family, my people, others like me, be able to get together and claim our land from the Bible so that we're not hacked, stalked, terrorized, tortured, raped, and we don't have to partake in this evil, sacrificial, sick system that rules over us. I don't want to be a part of it. That's for sure. When you realize that child sacrifice to the devil is a big business, and that women are encouraged to sleep with men, get pregnant, and have abortions, then the aborted fetus is taken out alive and tortured. That little thing, that little baby, the size of, half the size of your hand, alive, being tortured. To devil worshippers. And we're all complicit to it. What kind of world do we live in? What is this place? It is evil, isn't it? It is evil. They've now said that they can take babies right up until birth and kill them. And it's big business. Big business. Then they're hunting parties with dogs hunting little children and hunting people. People like me. But they brought the hunting parties to an end in the public arena. But they're still at it. This is a hunting party. If you're a targeted individual, you're hunted. That's what you are. You're a hunted animal. And we need to stand up together. If you listen to this, then we need to claim our land. That's in the Bible. Because my God promised me the land. The land of Abraham. And that's what I want. I don't want to be part of this place where they sacrifice children to the devil. And they grind people up and put it in the fertilizer. And we've got people as petrol and diesel. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to be a part of that. I want my freedom. I pray to God that He will make it happen. That's what I pray. The world is evil. It's a horrible place. We've got to be in that little season. That's what I think. And this is why I believe all Satanist families are allowed to be happy. But if you're a child of God, you'll be ripped from your mother. The other thing is a lot of the aborted fetuses, how do you know they aren't continually grown in a fake womb and put with other children, families as well? People are being bred in the deep underground bases as well for this evil system. I'm an overcomer through Christ. And the way I've overcome this is to live in my own bubble. I've had to separate myself from the world. And I'm awaiting God's good judgment and for God's good pleasure to place me in the land He promised me. Because I don't want to be in this system anymore. And if you're the same, it isn't about fixing it. You can't fix this. Only God can fix this. God had to show us this, I reckon, so that we come close to God. But yeah, this is the world we live in. And it's all about money. And I couldn't give a damn. I don't care about money. I just want to be left alone, thank you. I want to be free. I don't mind leaving with just the clothes on my back. I've got everything I need. Me and my Bible. I want my land. I pray to God for my land. I'm sure He didn't put me here for what is this place called? Earth, as it is. I don't want to be a part of it. As I say, I've separated myself from it. Nothing surprises me. Everyone can be bought. Everyone can be paid for. And if you're a targeted individual, you're like me. We need to get together. Because we've got nothing else. We are the family. If you're a targeted individual, you are my brothers and sisters. We need to get together. Pray for those that are doing this. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea of what this world is. Their eyes have not been opened, but mine have. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm sorry it's a bit morbid, but it needs talking about, because the truth needs to be said. And this is how I feel. It's Ayesha from God FM, and you can find me on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome, YouTube, Apple, X, as well as TikTok and Telegram as God FM News, God FM New, God FM Radio, God FM Group, and God FM Media. You can email me, admin@godfm.org.uk. Oh no, admin@godfm.uk, new website. And you can WhatsApp me, +44 777 35 77788. Please don't send images or links. Alright, have a good day. God bless you.